We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully, your day is going well. It is Thursday. By the time you hear this, we're recording it Wednesday night. And today we have a guest, a very appropriate guest given all that's going on. We have Jace, who happens to reside in Austin, Texas. And Texas has been quite a shit show as of late. So, welcome, Jace. I appreciate you taking the time to talk.
Hey, Mike, thanks for having me on. Not quite Austin, San Antonio, but might as
Oh,
well.
I'm
Pretty
sorry.
soon, we're going to be
You're
one
right.
city pretty soon. I'm glad that Austin's weird. There's a saying down here, keep Austin weird. And Austin and San Antonio are two of the biggest blue spots in Texas. So, hey, I'm proud to be linked with Austin. I know a lot of Republicans won't be, but I am.
I meant to say San Antonio because I've been to San Antonio. I have not been to Austin, but I've been hearing a lot about Austin the last couple of days, so that's stuck in my mind. I got to tell you a story about the disintegration of our culture, of our society. Um, I'm an old man, and old men maybe don't know what's hip these days. But I ran into something that just took me aback. I couldn't believe I'm standing in public and I'm listening to this. Um, I needed a specific item, and the only place I could find it was Walmart. So I went to Walmart, which I don't normally do. I'm not a big fan of Walmart. I used to tell people, when we go out to the state fair here in Minnesota, which is pretty sizable, you got a lot of grimy fucking weirdos at the state fair. I mean, it's fun for a lot of people. I don't go much, but and when I go out to the state fair, I'd look around and say, where do these fucking people go when the state fair's not running? And then I went to Walmart and go, oh, here they are. Here they fucking are. They left the state fair and all crowded into the Walmart. But anyway, I go into the Walmart and I'm not planning to stick around. One thing I'm going to buy, I go in, put my head down, go grab the item, pay for the item, and I'm walking out the door. Now there's a woman walking right next to me and she's on the phone and she's talking very loud, so I can't help but hear her. She's maybe 3 feet away from me and she's walking out the door. And this is the only part of the conversation I hear. I didn't hear the other side, but this is what she says. She goes, "Look, I've been the side hoe a couple of times, but my mama, she's always the number one bitch."
Wow.
I can't imagine having that conversation. And the thing is, she seems so fucking proud of it. Yeah, I've been a side hoe, but my mama, don't play that. It just took me back. I've heard a lot of fucked up things in my life. And you know how old people will say, "Oh, I was just appalled by that." I wasn't appalled by it. I just thought it was hilarious. I mean, it's one thing to have that conversation, but in public, loud at fucking Walmart. It just made me wonder about society. This is what we've come to.
Did you look around for any Jerry Springer cameras? I mean, that's right out of Jerry Springer, man.
You know what though? I don't even think with all the stuff going on now, I don't even think Jerry Springer would be popular because they could do nothing to surprise or upset people anymore. All you have to do is watch fucking Fox News or Donald Trump's press conferences, and they're worse than any Jerry Springer show ever was.
Yeah, you got a lot of TikTok influencers. I think there was one that got banned from Walmart for pulling pranks. So there's a TikTok thing on there to where people are on an escalator and they're going down and they're saying weird shit on the phone and people are behind them. So nowadays you never know if it's real life or you're in a fucking TikTok video. I mean it's the way society goes. I mean it's like there's so many the way they can film stuff now. Cameras are hidden. You never fucking know. I mean that to me I'd be like, where are the cameras at? Where the fucking cameras? There ain't no way this is fucking real, but.
Yeah.
It's
Well, I'm
Walmart, like you
afraid
said.
I'm afraid this was real because there was really nobody else around us unless they were shooting from a long distance. And I'll be honest with you, if they're looking for a crazy reaction from me, I didn't give a crazy reaction. I heard it and I kept walking and I thought, that's motherfucking funny.
Yeah.
I got to tell some people about that shit.
And people
So,
talk so loud nowadays, it's like you can't fucking but overhear. It's like I'm part of this conversation whether I fucking want to or not. I mean, it's that whole personal space thing. People don't they don't like it. It's like when they're driving, they don't fucking let you in. I mean, you're about to hit a fucking concrete pillar here, but the motherfucker wants to make sure he doesn't let you fucking in, so you gotta your life. I mean, it's the same thing with that. It's I mean, you nailed it. It's like denigration society. I mean, it's I mean, hell, they let two people like us on a freaking podcast, man. Fucking ain't no standards anywhere.
There is no standard. I think a lot. I think a lot of people are on when they're on the phone. I rarely talk on my phone. Rarely talk on my phone.
Text.
If I'm communicating with somebody, it's usually a text
Yeah,
message. I
same.
prefer it that way. And once we're in the text messages, if it makes sense to talk on the phone, then we'll talk on the phone. But I get so many calls, scam calls, unlisted calls. I just don't answer them. It's not worth it. But I swear to God, there are some people, like the big businessman or whatever,
Yeah.
talking on the phone, talking loud, trying to be a tough guy so people believe he's Mr. Hard-nosed businessman. And I just laugh at these motherfuckers. I've been in business and I've had some rough calls. But Jesus Christ, you don't need all of the entirety of the population to hear how tough you are. Nobody's impressed by that. They're fucking annoyed by it.
There's a meme from the late great and rest in peace Ozzy, where he had this show called The Osbournes, and he had all these fucking like remote controls and shit, and he couldn't fucking figure them out. I mean,
Right.
and there's like fucking one time, it's like when you get a fucking phone call on your phone, and like, what the fuck is that? I mean, it's like, no, I fucking text on this thing. I don't talk on the phone. It's like you better have somebody better be dead. You're calling me on my phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly. Exactly. So, Texas has been the lead story as of late, and it's all tied to this gerrymandering that's going or intended to go down in Texas. Um, the weird thing is they just gerrymandered the fuck out of that place 2 or 3 years ago.
yeah.
And now Donald Trump says, hey, let's do it again. And of course, all the people, Greg Abbott, anybody below, think, well, I don't know if we need to do it again, but if Donald Trump says it, we're getting on board. Those uh, those uh, those legislators and Greg Abbott. Now you have to understand, I'm not saying this wrong. I've coined a new word. They're sycophants, not sycophants. The sycophants, because they're suck ass sycophants. Just I put the words together to save time. But Donald Trump does so many stupid things. I'm amazed by how many people jump on board thinking it's a smart idea, but it's never a smart idea.
Yeah, you always kind of wonder. I mean, we in the national part, we've always kind of wondered, what happened to Lindsey Graham. I mean, did the Russians, find out the ladybugs story may be true? And if you don't know what that is, Google it. You will
Yeah,
be
I'm
sorry.
not going to say
I'm,
it.
I'm telling you right now, you will be sorry. I ain't no warning you. You will be sorry. Maybe the Russians, had that server they stole from the DNC. It was always funny how now they're going after Obama again. They're bringing that up again. But who got hacked? It was the DNC.
Yeah,
Or was it RNC? Sorry, the RNC. And do they have secrets about, do they have all these secrets that they have on them? And you look at Texas, and you have so many people, Republicans too, came out against this gerrymandering. And it's like they had to have the hearings because I guess there's some kind of law that you have to hear people out. Nobody came forward, for it. People were saying, it affects businesses, it does other stuff. I mean, they're trying to, get rid of, one of the strongest ones, and that's Jasmine Crockett. You
right.
know, I mean, her house, I guess, would be out of there. And this is by design. This isn't by accident.
No,
They know exactly what they're fucking doing because after those hearings left, and I swear to God, the day after the maps came out, and people were saying, well, these are worse than they were before. But you have a Democratic Party now that I think Gavin Newsom has helped inspire. The governor for Illinois has helped inspire. Democrats have done this before, and I think last time they left Texas for a while, I can't remember what it was, but they left Texas. It may be in the gerrymandering or whatever, but they didn't really have much backing. Everybody's like, oh well, they're gonna have to come home anyway eventually. And I think there was a law passed to where they can fine them $500 a day. Well, the Democrats are playing by the Republicans' playbook now,
Right, right,
and they're pissed off. Paxton's pissed off. They want to arrest people. They want to get the feds involved. They have no grounds to do that because I believe what I read is that when they get arrested, it's not a civil or a criminal matter. It's more of like, I guess, what's the word? Like it's just, for show when they
right.
arrest them. And
Performative.
yeah, performative, exactly. And now Paxton's all pissed off, and anytime Paxton's pissed off, I'm happy. Is that Beto O'Rourke, evidently his group is helping, pay this $500 a day fine. So I mean, I guess George Soros, is not funding everything now. I guess, Beto's helping them out.
Yeah,
So
apparently.
that's something they didn't have before. And I think this is also exposing the Republicans of how desperate they are. I think even non-Democratic voters are seeing it because I think it's coming to light that this whole hemp ban and this whole thing with the flooding, they use that as cover to have this special session to do this gerrymandering. And it was like people always wonder why did Abbott, veto that bill? Well, it makes perfect sense now because Trump was in his ear back then. Well, if they just did the gerrymandering, people would focus on this, and they thought, well, no, there's other things here we got to work on too. I mean, the stuff with the flooding was just done because they're assholes. That was denied because they're just assholes, and they don't believe in global warming and
Right.
safety, and they don't care about their constituents. But I think the gerrymandering is getting the attention, and I think they're more pissed off. Paxton was pissed off that the House leader who got elected with the help of Democrats didn't lock the doors. Well, I don't know. When I'm from, Mike, that's called kidnapping. I'm from Texas, but that
Yeah.
was called almost kidnapping. So
Probably a
that's
fire
what they're
issue
pissed about.
too.
What's that?
Probably a fire safety issue
Oh
too for
yeah,
them to do that.
exactly.
We'll
So
just lock them into one spot. Well, and the thing is, they go off to Illinois and other spots. Of course, we had this to give you an idea of the desperation out of the Republicans. We have these people in Illinois, and then we hear of a bomb threat at the hotel that they're at,
yep.
which was all bullshit. There was no bomb found or anything like that. That's just what these whiny punk ass bitches are doing. They're trying to intimidate, they're trying to threaten. And the thing is, when you have a bully and your threats don't work, you're pretty fucking impotent as a bully.
Well, you've seen what I mean, Abbott especially, what DeSantis has tried it, but he hasn't been as successful as Abbott. What they do is that they want to go to court and they want to get, things done. But when it's in their favor, they're fine with it. But if it's not,
Yeah,
they try to ignore it. And that
right.
was stuff that Abbott did against Biden. I mean, there was a whole, buoys that they had on the border, all this stuff that, Abbott ignored a lot of these rulings. But now they're going to the Texas Supreme Court to, try to impeach or get rid of the head of the Democratic Party, which, and guess what? He's Asian. So I
Yeah.
read on Texas Tribune that with what they're trying to do is not only is he facing, you know, getting, going after him because Abbott thinks he's a ringleader, but he's getting racial slurs against him.
Oh, I
Surprise,
can imagine.
surprise, surprise. So the right, which claims to be Christian, because they're all Christian, because, I don't necessarily believe in their God. I'm a atheistic heathen is what they call me. But, I don't call people racial slurs. I treat people like they want to be treated. And what you're seeing now is you're seeing, the Republicans trying to do what Trump's done nationally, who Trump's been, somewhat successful. I mean, I give him that. But this is what really surprised me. And I think I told you this before. I was really kind of surprised that Paxton wasn't, a choice for Trump because if there's anybody, an attorney general out there that, is, just like Trump, it's Paxton. Paxton is probably where this is the guy that's, going after Democrats for, leaving when this is happening. This is also the guy that ran away when he tried to get served for his indictment for
Yeah.
his criminal charges that, they let him get off of.
Yeah. I mean, that seems to go on a lot with the Republican Party. Um, Now they want to arrest these people, which makes no sense. You're not going to send Texas Rangers to fucking Illinois to arrest them. And Ken Paxton wants to somehow figure out a way through the courts to remove them from their positions and have them replaced. And there's really no function to do that, even in fucking Texas. But they like to make these threats in hopes that somebody might become afraid and then come rushing back and saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." I mean, this is all what Republicans do. They try to hit you in the face, they try to intimidate you, and hoping you bend to them. Now, for 10 years, Democrats have done that to a certain extent. The media has certainly done that to an extent. But there's been a change as of late. People are saying, fuck you. Fuck you. We're not doing it. And they're starting to flail now. They're starting to grab at anything. We're hearing Donald Trump grabbing at shit, roaming around on the fucking roof. He doesn't know what to do. And even people like Greg Abbott and Ken Paxton, they seem to be completely flummoxed because their normal strategies aren't working.
Well, yeah, to like you just mentioned, to be honest with you, they're doing this because in the past Democrats have come back and Democrats have taken the knee. I mean, but I mean, what I think is you have now is you have Democrats like, Jasmine Crockett, calling Trump a piece of shit, calling Abbott a piece of shit. That's what Trump does. But they don't like
Yeah.
it when it happens to them.
No, they
They,
don't.
it's the whole do as I say, not as I do thing. And it is fucking hypocrisy. I mean, even freaking, rest her soul, Helen Keller could see that shit. I
Yeah.
guess Stevie Wonder would be a better example. But I I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense if you fucking don't drink the Kool-Aid, you don't have the rose-colored glasses on, and there's always going to be those people that do that,
Yeah.
because they like an asshole. Well, maybe, and you mentioned it too on one of your podcasts. You said, well, maybe that's why Democrats are so fucking low in the polls is because they don't fucking stand up for the shit. That, oh,
Oh, I
okay,
agree. Yeah.
we'll do this and we'll do that. And you know who tried to do that? Biden tried to do that until they backstabbed him in the fucking back. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
everybody backstabbed him except probably Kamala. And now you look at him and I heard him talk the other night, and it's like, God damn. It's like, look what we have in the office, the White House, and look what we had. And I know that you're not going to get the people that drink the Kool-Aid and the George Clooney's. Well, fuck those guys. But my God, I mean, Biden is freaking, Abraham Lincoln compared to fucking, this guy over here. This guy, I mean, like you said, he's one around the fucking roof. He wants to put missiles on the roof. He was probably looking up there because he could have the fucking UFC ring up there. I mean, who knows what this guy's thinking? I mean,
Yeah. Who knows?
he I mean, every day it's something else, and he is distracting. But what's not going away is that the Epstein's still being brought up, and them
Yeah.
trying to, and like you mentioned, meet with JD Vance to get all that stuff. And of course, I heard they canceled it. Well, yeah, because it got out. It got fucking out that what's happening. I mean, it looks like they're trying to cover for it, which is what they're fucking doing.
Well, exactly. Yeah, I just want to say about Jasmine Crockett, they're kind of fucking up and trying to ace her out of her seat in the House of Representatives. She's got a lot of power, even though she's been there for a short period of time. People love her.
Yeah.
They might kick her out of her representative seat, but that might catapult her into the U.S. Senate, giving her more power because she could theoretically run against Cornyn or Paxton, whoever the fuck it is, and probably do pretty well because people are getting tired of the Republicans. Even people in Texas are getting tired of the struggles they're suffering now under the Donald Trump regime.
Well, I mentioned it before. Even Beto has said it that the problem with Texas is that the people don't vote.
Right.
They had a thing that came out, and I think it was pretty reliable source that there are like 6 million registered Republicans. There's like 8 million registered Democrats, and there's like a lot of independents. Like I don't know how many there were, but that just proves one thing. Well, two things: Democrats don't vote, but Republicans do, and they like the party. They like to, to get the, the Beto tag, bumper sticker for their car. They like to, get, the tamales or whatever they're serving, but they don't want to do the work and stand in line. But you're coming through now where even his vote, even Trump's approval ratings of the Latinos have gone down. Well, about fucking time. I mean, this
Yeah,
guy
about
has
fucking
fucking
time.
pretty much said from the beginning. I mean, was him calling all Mexicans racist and murderers, was that not enough?
Yeah, you would
And
think.
and it's like he said that when he came down the fucking escalator all those years ago when he was sitting on that 12-year-old girl, say he's going to marry her in 10 years.
Yeah,
I mean, was that not enough? Was the Access Hollywood not enough? You're taking, and like we mentioned before, was pot going to be the one thing? But they have so many things against them. And that what I have told people is like, well, you ought to thank the Democrats because the Democrats being gone is not only stopping the gerrymandering, it's also stopping your pot from being banned.
right,
So
right.
it's like, but what they're doing to these people is that they gerrymandered the fuck out of this thing. I mean, it's amazing. They found something, but they did to
Yeah.
do something. And who gerrymandered last time? It was them. But they're not doing the will of the people. The Republican Party in Texas and nationally, they serve not the voters, they serve Donald Trump. And
Yeah.
this proves it right now because they had a thing to where I talked about earlier to where we have this, pot ban and this, the stuff with the flooding. Well, the flooding goes on all the time. It happens all the time. That could have been done in this special session. The pot thing, he could have avoided it. But he had to have cover for this gerrymandering thing because it would have been front and center. That's all the media would have been talking about. And he said, and there was in the media, when a Republican says something, they go with it like it's a story. Like,
Right.
well, Abbott, he says he's not really looking at that right now. Bull fucking shit. They knew exactly what they were doing, and that's why they're pissed off, is because the Democrats left. And and if somebody's, they want to get rid of these people, well, they gotta, he just can't appoint Republicans. He's got to have an
Oh,
election. That takes time. And by
yeah.
then the midterms may happen, so this may be moot.
Well, yeah. And as I understand this, there is a certain amount of time that you have to reset these things.
Hmm.
And the state that has the least amount of time is Texas. They got to get this straight before November 8th. Otherwise, they can't do it. So if those guys sit out there for a couple of months, which sounds crazy, but if they did, they wouldn't be able to do it anyway. The thing that I find interesting is when we hear from Gavin Newsom, California, J.B. Pritzker in Illinois, and some of the other places saying, look, you do this, we're going to gerrymander the hell out of our states, which is a significant threat when we're talking about California, New York, and Illinois, and God knows who else. Um, and now we've got Republicans in those respective states saying, oh, no, you can't do that. You're trying to steal seats. Well, motherfucker, turnabout is fair play. They don't like it when it's happening to them, but they think it's okay when they do it. But there are even people in in Congress, Republicans going, now settle the fuck down, settle the fuck down, because some of those guys or ladies in the House or even the Senate, they're going to get kicked out of their jobs too. The thing about it is what we've seen with Republicans. I have a theory of how these people should handle it. They're going to try to gerrymander Texas. If they ever go back, they will gerrymander Texas. I don't think California, New York, Illinois, or anybody else should say, well, if you do it, we'll do it. I suggest they just fucking do it. Because until you scare the shit out of them, maybe just have one of them do it. Have California do it, or whoever can do it the easiest. Do it and say, okay, keep it up. Do it. Do you do Texas? We'll do another one. You got to go at them with power. You got to slap them on the snout before they pay attention. They think the Democrats will constantly back down, mainly because the Democrats do typically back down. If you're going to beat a bully, you got to knock him on his ass and keep him down. So I think they really got to do something to make a point in order to keep the Republicans neutralized.
And I think the most important thing, if people vote, gerrymandering won't matter. And I think that's
Yeah.
why you have the importance of somebody like David Hogg is very important because if you got Joe Smo over there that doesn't inspire anybody to vote for a Democrat, they're not going to vote for them. Yeah, they're safe, they may win, but he's not going to have the turnout he could have if he had somebody promising. So I support him in whatever he does in that if they want to get, these people that aren't pulling their weight. Because, I mean, a lot of it is just, not caring about the process. People don't inspire them. But you look at somebody like an AOC, a Jasmine Crockett, even 255-year-old Bernie Sanders, they're fucking inspiring people. That's what the fucking Democrats need. We all talk about a Trump and everything like that. But what I've seen with MAGA, and I've seen with people that, I was listening to a podcast and Scaramucci was on there. And what you don't realize is what somebody, when I see, and there's people that aren't like this, but he was a MAGA. He's always a MAGA.
Yeah.
He was normalizing what Trump's doing. I mean, you listen to these interviews, and you have a lot of those Republicans that are, that used to be Republicans that still claim to be Republicans like him. Well, he did good with this and he did good with that. They sit there and they normalize this, and a lot of talking Democrats let that happen. No, you got
Yeah.
to be pissed about this shit. None of this shit is normal. Yeah, I mean they're talking about, well, he did this and that's good. It's like, no. What he's doing, that's why they got to keep this Epstein list going. That's why they got to keep this gerrymandering thing going. I mean, they've set up all these fires that I don't, but I think that it may actually scare Republicans away not wanting to be involved with that. Because, yeah, you could have people, not talking about the Epstein files, but you have a lot of people in MAGA that are pissed. And a lot of people in MAGA are losing their jobs and they're losing they're seeing, these nursing homes shut down because of the
And
Medicaid
hospitals.
cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, and you think about that, that ain't even hit yet. And you have all this shit going on too, and it's like you always say, the boomers die at what rate? I mean, that's most of Trump's base.
5,000 a day. That's what I've heard. I haven't got my ticket yet, but 5,000 a day for boomers.
Gen X is right behind them. And
Yeah.
what they're doing too now is they're thinking, well, they can go on Joe Rogan and get it, whatever. But the thing about Joe Rogan is I don't think Joe Rogan can be bought. That sounds very. I know you people are going like, what the fuck did he just say? I don't know. You said this too. You said that somebody like who's the second guy in the FBI that he sees. I mean,
Bongino.
Joe Rogan sees his future, and he's seen the Midas touch come up and beat him a couple times in those podcasts. Trump's an aging asset. There's
Yeah.
no future with Trump. He's not. I mean, we talk about the next 3 years, next 10 years, definitely not. You know, and they see that. And he's already been weakened by this Epstein stuff. And they say they want to bring Joe Rogan in there. And it wouldn't surprise me. And if he does sell out, then I'm wrong. He goes in there and, sugarcoats everything. I don't see him doing that if he wants to keep his audience because he's already soured on him. He's always said shit that he can't get back. Well, they're trying
Right.
to get him up there and court this shit. Well, if Joe Rogan's smart, I mean, he'll turn the tables on that shit because we always hear, well, should have went, Kamala should have went down to Austin to interview him. Well, let's see if fucking if you're as impartial as there, I mean, if he starts turning he's already lost the young men vote. Young men are fucking idiots anyway. I used to be one, so I know where I
Me
come
too.
from. So I mean, we evolve a little bit longer. Look how long I was Republican, and I eventually, got out of that shit. So it takes us a little bit longer. But
Yeah.
he's not got the women. He's lost the independence. So if they're smart, they'll start turning on him. And there's some in that right-wing media, like Megyn Kelly and a few others, that
I will suggest this that it looks like Jace jammed up here. We'll see if he loosens up here. Okay.
oh,
Now he dropped down. Now
my
he looks
camera
like he's
fell
doing a
down.
fucking puppet show.
Yeah, there you go.
Now
You got to
the
be able
thing
to
with
see all of
Joe,
this, Mike. You pay for the show.
absolutely, absolutely. Um, but the thing with Joe Rogan and some of the other podcast bros, they weren't dyed in the wool cult members. They're in it for themselves. They're going to jump on whatever bandwagon they think is positive or popular. And they thought jumping on uh, Donald Trump's bandwagon was going to be profitable. They were right for whatever reason. But as I've said before, Donald Trump, if you took Donald Trump in 2020 and compared him to today, Donald Trump doesn't have the strength, the pull, the the popularity that he had back then. He's spiraling out. We can see it every day. And somebody like Joe Rogan isn't going to jump on board a sinking ship.
Nope.
And you know, Joe's already talking about these things that are quite obvious about the deportations and the tariffs and all this shit. Joe Rogan said something on his show one time, and I think we all have to remember this. And I appreciate him being honest and straightforward. Somebody asked him a tough question, and he didn't really know. And he says, "Look, I'm just a dumbass doing a podcast." And that's true. He is just a dumbass. He doesn't know the specifics of the politics. He just jumps on whatever sounds good. He reads the clickbait and then he starts talking shit about it. He's not a scholar of politics. He's not somebody that looks into what's going on. You know, let's get rid of all the illegal aliens. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea until they start getting rid of 4-year-old children or women or 65-year-old landscapers. Joe's starting to hear those stories now. He's going, wait a fucking minute, that's too far. So we will see a switch in the podcast bros because Donald Trump's just not going to be popular anymore. He's a lame duck president. He's getting old. He's slowing down. He's a little goofy. He's walking around on his roof. He's not going to be as much as they love building him up. Motherfuckers like Joe Rogan love tearing down a motherfucker. And I think that's the next step for these folks.
You know, it's funny too when you look at it, you almost have a more respect for Joe Rogan because that guy, the guy you like from here, I forget his last name. He had him on the Joe Rogan show. What's his name? The Texas representative you liked. He said that,
Oh, Tallarico?
yeah, he had him on his podcast, and I downloaded and listened to it,
Yeah.
and I listened to him, and I thought, Joe wanted to get a room with the guy. And I mean, he was in love with him, and I have a lot more respect from somebody like, and I'm not saying I'm a big fan of his. Like you said, he's a meathead, but I have like a lot more respect than I do for somebody like Bill Maher. I don't know what the fuck happened to that guy. That guy, he was on his show, and it's like unwatchable. And he just is like, well, the tariffs didn't ruin the country, like I thought they would. And they fucking haven't hit yet. You know what I mean? I mean, they're starting to, but it's just, there's nothing. I mean, it's like he's the kind of progressive, and he was a progressive at one time, that sees things that, he looks at Trump as winning. He's not looking at all the bad stuff, and he's trying to switch sides. I mean, this is a guy that called, Trump's mama orangutan and got sued. I mean, where's that Bill Maher? You know what I mean? But now he's kissing up, and he got called out by some of his progressive guests, like Joe Larazamo, I guess. He got called out about, saying he had no problem with the ICE thing, and he's like, well, that's just purely racial. I mean, and he got called out for that, which is rightfully so. But when
Bill
you
Maher,
have
Bill
somebody,
Maher, Bill Maher flip flops all the
yeah,
fucking time. You
exactly.
never know what he really thinks. Like I say, you got to understand Joe Rogan, Bill Maher, all these motherfuckers. They have one thing that there is important to them. Two things: views and money. And
Yeah,
they'll do whatever they have to do to get either or both of those things. But the interesting thread here is that we seem to see a lot of people do what Bill Maher did.
yeah.
He goes down, has lunch with him, and then all of a sudden he's kind of a supporter because, behind the scenes, he was a nice guy. Never mind the fact that he's taking innocent people and putting them in fucking cages. He's taking away medical care from a ton of people. And to suggest the tariffs haven't destroyed the country, well, maybe not completely yet,
Not
but
yet.
prices are up, inflation is up, and GDP is down. Um, Fuck, I heard a story about Kentucky. bright red state, Kentucky. They got a Democratic governor, but it's a red state. There are four or five whiskey manufacturers that are going out of business
Yep.
because of the tariffs, because Canada has taken them off the shelves. He's destroyed those businesses, and 24,000 people are out of jobs in fucking Kentucky. So don't tell me it didn't destroy the country. It hasn't completely destroyed it yet, but it's a good start.
And what's happening in Texas too is that you have a lot of the Mexican nationals. And I know a
Yeah.
lot of people think Mexico is a third world country, but there's a lot of money in Mexico. I mean, maybe not around the border
Yeah.
states, which, they pretty much always say are full of crime, you know. And, there's crime everywhere. I mean, humans are humans. There's going to be crime everywhere. And and there's no open borders. Being as close as I am down here, I drive through Border Patrol when I go down to the McAllen, and I have to stop. And men, are down there doing their jobs, and I want to ask them, hey, where are Biden's open borders? And no, there's no open borders down here. But Mexican nationals come up here, and they spend a lot of money. And some of them are very nice, but some of them are very entitled. They're almost like kings or something like that. I mean, they can be rude, and I think a lot of it sometimes is the language barrier. But that's one of our biggest partners is Mexico.
Right.
And I don't know if I told you about that one time, South Padre Island, which is down there around Brownsville, which is a border. That's like right there, and uh, a, a lot of people come up from Mexico to South Padre Island, and they show the strip, and I've been down that strip. Strip's always busy. There ain't nothing going on. People aren't at the
Yeah.
malls. And there's another thing that's hitting Texas too is the Texas beef. A lot of the other countries are buying beef from Australia.
Right.
If you want a climate like Texas, Australia's pretty close, so they can raise the same damn things. So, and even I think I mentioned it back when, Mexico sent help up here for people when the flooding's going on, Abbott wouldn't let
Right.
him do it, and I mean, I think he had some arrested or deported, it's just they always got to own the libs, as you say. But it's just like, and what I worry about, Mike, is, when 9/11 happened, we had so many people reach out to us, oh, this is, I mean, and, a lot of these countries, when it happen, everyday occurrence is like they're, getting terrorist threats and stuff. But people were there, people like Canada, people like Great Britain, they were there, hey, supporting us. We're not going to have that if that happens here again.
No, and
You're
it
not
certainly
going to have,
could.
I mean, we're fucking over Canada. Canada. We fucking always made fun of Canada, but we're seeing so fucking nice. I mean, what's Canada known for? I mean, Shania Twain and Rush, two of the greatest
Yeah.
imports ever. Come on. Rush is a band, by the way, if you need to look that up, younger folks.
Guess
And
who, too?
guess who too? Oh yeah, and Bryan Adams. A lot of good people came from Canada.
Yeah.
And there's a movie back in the early '80s called Strange Brew.
Yeah.
That I mean, it's even that '70s show. You would talk about how nice the Mounties were and stuff. But I tell you what, I had a coworker that got a DWI once, and he tried to go to Canada on business. They wouldn't fucking let him in. Canada don't fuck
No.
around.
No, they
So we're
don't.
going after them, our biggest ally. Mexico too. So what I've heard is that they're Mexico and Canada are talking to each other, and they're just, freezing the fucking middle guy out there. It's like, I don't know if you guys have America's diamond up there, but they always say we're going to cut out the fucking middleman. Well, America's the
Right.
fucking middleman right now, and the rest of the country's moved on. And there was was the Monroe Doctrine. What was the Monroe Doctrine? Where a lot of Republicans want to go back to is like, we don't fuck around with what's going on with the rest of the world. Let's just stay here. But it's a global economy now. And that's,
Yeah.
and I hear Will talk about, how Trump and they don't understand how economics work. He's right. They don't. I mean, it's just like we just want to, be the big, we just want to, if Trump could come there and, he'd like to have a dick measuring contest. And from what Stormy said, he'd lose. So, I
He'd
mean,
lose.
he'd lose either way.
He'd lose. He's a small shiitake. Um, but yeah, it's So when somebody like Bill Maher says, "Oh, tariffs didn't do anything bad," look, motherfucker. I mean, I would love to talk to somebody like Bill Maher. Donald Trump comes out and says, "Well, we collected $100 million or $150 million last month. We're going to get $200 million this month." Where did that money come from? It came from us. And what they'll try to couch it, well, some of it came from us, but others came from foreign countries and the businesses. So you're telling me that these other countries ate the tariff just to be nice to us, that the middlemen who are trying to make a living ate the tariff just to be nice to us. That's absolute bullshit. The money they're collecting is coming from us. And as much as Donald Trump wants to talk about how much he's cut taxes, those tariffs are the largest increase in taxes anybody's ever done in this fucking country. And all you got to do
Remember,
is go to Walmart, and if you can get through the weirdos, you're going to see the prices are higher.
my thing for Walmart go at 5, 6 a.m. Usually the weirdos are not there anymore. That's when I go. Or maybe I'm one of the weirdos. I don't know. I still go to Walmart, I guess. No, what have you seen that stuff too that he wants to put, was it 100% on electronics now? He wants to put a 25% on pharmaceuticals. So
Yeah,
grandma on her insulin may not get her insulin anymore, she may not be able to afford it. And you know what people don't realize is that there comes a time when and people and there's a lot of them here in America when they have to either am I going to eat this week or I'm going to take my meds.
right,
There was a thing back in Trump's first term, this is before COVID, that they have a thing down here. They have a San Antonio food bank, which is they do great things when like artists like Shania Twain came in and she donated a lot of food. A lot of artists come in and they donate that stuff. And and they do there's a grocery store down here named HEB and they work with them. HEB's, if you don't know them, they're a grocery store who is a very blue leaning grocery store, but they help out all Texans. And they were there before FEMA was. They were there getting stuff done because what you do is when you go to HEB is that you can like put $5 on your bill and they put that towards, they put that and their stuff's, open record, they don't, steal it for themselves. But they sent trucks up there to Kerrville to get all this stuff done. But what you're having now is that they had a thing back in Trump's first term, and everybody talks about how Texas could be its own independent country, and you had carloads of people getting free food. I mean,
yeah,
the economy was that bad under Trump first term that the media I don't think highlights. They talk about how bad it was under Biden. Yeah, some stuff sucked under Biden, but we're in a lot better shape, 3 years ago than we are now.
right.
I mean, it's only been 6 fucking months, 7 if you, being generous. But there were people during Trump's first one, and it was like Texas is one of the biggest red states. And people always say, well, Texas would be okay on its own. And you had that stat where you showed me before that it's not. I mean, it's one of the biggest, take-in states. So when you have, people like, they like Texas, they always talk about succeeding when, like Biden was in, Obama was in, they always talk about that. Let them.
Yeah,
Let the red states succeed. What's happening in Kentucky? Who's been running Kentucky in Congress? Mitch McConnell. That's on his watch. Look what's going on in
yeah,
Texas. Greg Abbott's been governor since I can remember. So, yeah, if you want to talk about because like, I've said that I'm getting out of here and I tell people like, where are you gonna move to? I go, probably California, something like California, Seattle, somewhere blue. Well, California is like I know California donates, to the red states and all their shit's high. It's because A, it's a beautiful state, and B, because they're supporting the rest of a lot of the other countries like New York or states like New York supporting like California. So, I mean, this whole myth about the red thing is just, I mean, it's the Republicans don't stand for anything. Just look at Trump. His whole thing wasn't for the voters. It was to screw the voters because his billionaire buddies could get a tax break. Hell,
right.
I want Amazon, I want, NBC, I want all these companies to pay their fair fucking share. grandma and you, me, we shouldn't have to pay. I mean, we pay more in taxes than Amazon does. What the fuck's up with that?
And that's the simple answer to everything. Social Security,
Yeah.
everything. If they paid the same amount of taxes as we paid, which isn't asking a lot,
No.
if they paid the same amount of taxes we pay, we could do universal health care. We
Yeah.
could make post secondary education a lot easier. And Social Security would be fucking fine.
Nope.
That's the simple answer. But apparently, the Republicans are doing everything they can to say, oh, we can't do that because then I love what they say. They say, like in New York, they'll say, well, if we tax them, then they'll go elsewhere. Bye. Go ahead. You ain't doing us any favors now. Right now, you're just a money suck because you're not paying taxes. If you, that's what I'm thinking. You get a big company in New York, they don't pay any taxes. So if we make them pay taxes, they leave. How is that a losing proposition? We've lost nothing because they're giving nothing. So it's not nearly the problem that they say it is. It's just they want to keep feeding their rich people, so the rich people keep feeding them. Fuck them all. Let them go someplace else. Find a better spot. Come to Minnesota. You'll pay for fucking taxes here, or uh, uh, go to Kentucky. See how that works for you. We've got 5 whiskey companies there that are going out of business. These people have to make money and they have to be in certain places. Just because we charge them taxes doesn't mean they're going to leave. And if they do, we'll deal with it.
And if you got a good product, you're gonna be okay. I mean, you're gonna find a way to make money if you pay a little bit more in taxes.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they had that thing here where, speaking of Joe Rogan again, is that he got a lot of his people to follow him over here, and they don't fucking like it. It's not as good as California. It's fucking hot over here. I mean,
Yeah.
it was 103 today. I mean, it's fucking, right now it's, what, close to 10 o'clock, and it's fucking, still in the 80s. I mean, it ain't, we had a day the other day, it was like 67, and it was like a fucking cold front for us. I
Yeah.
mean, it's fucking hot. It's brutal. Texas is running out of water. They're not, they either have too much water coming in or not enough coming in, and they don't know how to harness it. And they're not addressing that. They haven't, you don't hear about the grid anymore, you know. I mean, luckily we had a kind of a cooler summer, but a lot of these people that move from California, they're miserable here. Yeah, you pay less in taxes, but your quality of life, I mean, I've been to California once, and I've lived in Texas, and I can tell you right now, if I had money, I'd live in fucking California because they have this thing called fucking seasons. I don't know if you're
Yeah.
aware of that, Mike. You may have those up there, but
We
we have
do.
like fucking hot and hotter down here. And
Yeah.
of course, I saw some Republican go, well, the reason why, they said that is because they live in Austin. Well, Austin's one of the most prosperous cities, and except for that's where our legislature is, and if you can get past that smell, I mean, you can do anything. That could be what they're smelling. But
Well, the thing about it is you can say, this is what I always love. I'm going to move to this state because they got lower taxes or they don't have state taxes. If you think you're still not going to pay somehow, you're fucking crazy. Texas is a good example. They
yep,
got lower taxes. But with all the problems you have in that state, the flooding, the jobs, the whatever, all the all the legislature is worried about is gerrymandering. They're
yep.
not addressing any of the fucking problems you have. So yeah, you're paying lower taxes, but your quality of life is going to be a lot less, and it's going to get worse as time goes on.
Yeah, and you will not be able not to convince me that the banning of the hemp, voiding that, and because all of a sudden Abbott's for banning it. Hmm. They didn't want all this thing done on the gerrymandering. They did not want it focused on that. Well, you got three things up here now, and there's other shit we got to fucking, they got it. They haven't funded schools correctly. I mean, you see a lot of this shit that happening is because the community turns out to support the schools. They, have these
Yeah.
things where, they know the teachers aren't paid enough. And what we've seen down here that gives me hope is a lot of the school boards have voted out the MAGA people because they were sitting here worried about where people go to the bathroom. I mean, and there was some bill that they want to talk about. It's another transgender bathroom thing. I mean, people are dying. there is probably a transgender person, if, even if there is one, it's maybe 1 in 100 or something like that. It's some ungodly low number, but they got to put that
Right.
in there. And it's just to feed their base. It just,
Yeah.
I saw uh, I saw a wrestling promo one time, and I know that somebody got on to me about talking about wrestling, but
Fuck you. I like wrestling.
it was The Rock and Triple H. And Triple H has always got this scowl on him, and The Rock looked at him, and this is the way I look at Democrats talking to Republicans. The Rock looked at him and go, "Why are you so angry? Walk around all mad all the time." I mean, that's what the Republicans do. They walk around something to be pissed off about. They have this Sweeney American Eagle thing. I didn't even know what that was about, but it
Yeah.
was something that she got called out by somebody, and it's like we're talking about blue jeans now. All
Yeah.
the shit's going on in the world, and we're worried about that. Well, somebody on the left said this, and somebody over here got mad. And it's like, are we still there? And it's usually somebody, it's like the Bud Light thing. If they used a transgender, there's a transgender audience out there they were trying to reach. It doesn't fucking affect me. I like Bud Light, I'll drink a Bud Light. I don't like a Bud Light, I won't drink a Bud Light. It ain't gonna make me transgender. I mean, if that shit works, maybe I'll quit drinking it. But
Yeah.
it's just shit like that. I mean, 2 months ago we were at fucking war with Iran. Where'd that fucking go?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, Jesus fucking Christ, you're worried about genes? Come on, do
Well,
better.
that's
That's on both sides.
yeah, it is on both sides, and that's the thing we've got to understand. Whenever Donald Trump does the things he does, like let's put a nuclear reactor on the moon, or let's put nuclear missiles on top of the fucking White House. Donald Trump just pulls shit out of his ass, which is probably a messy proposition, but he pulls shit out of his ass just to distract from whatever's going on in front of him at this time. People always think, well, that's just his strategy. Donald Trump has no fucking strategy. He's reacting every time somebody says something to him, and he pulls anything out to distract from it. It's always something else going on. If he's in trouble, then he's going to say, well, I'm going to put missiles on the fucking White House. He just wants to change the conversation constantly. And this is something I've always said about media. When he does that, say, no, we're talking about this now. Tell me about that. And then when he doesn't, say, tell me about this. Keep putting it on him until he's too embarrassed not to answer or he walks the fuck out. People have to press him. He doesn't do well when people press him. That's why it needs to be done more. And I think he's getting more of it now because people are getting tired of the fucking bullshit. He's always had nothing but bullshit. But now it's become so blatant that even people are going, wow, that doesn't make sense. Oh, well, thanks for joining the party 10 years later.
Did you see that interview he did on CNBC?
Yeah.
And he was trying to tell that guy he has a 70% approval rating, and the guy goes, "Well, yeah, amongst Republicans." No, 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 that's the general population. And the guy's like, "No, that's not true." And he goes, "Well, you're the worst. CBS is better than you. The NBC is the worst." He doesn't like you're right. He doesn't stand for anything. When you attack somebody personally, you've lost the argument.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that I know that support this guy that used to believe that. And they don't believe that anymore. They're okay, and you see, like, even in the comments sometimes you see somebody say something that's a truthful comment and they'll just say no. It's their guy, they can't believe it, even though it's happening in front of their face. You know, there was somebody that said that he always wondered how the Germans could have allowed to happen what happened. And now you see evidence of people doing that. It's like the ICE thing, it's like I was telling you, I was reading that book by Getty Lee, and they lived in Poland and they were a Jewish family, and they said that after the war they could never go back to Poland because their people turned them in. That's why they moved to Canada, because it
Right.
was never the same for a lot of Jewish people in Poland because the people who they thought were their friends turned them in. And I think that's happening a lot here. You're getting these people that, good news for us, Mike. We can join, ICE because there's no age requirement now. That's how desperate there are. I saw that.
$50,000.
I texted a buddy of mine. He's just retired last year. I go, hey man, you come out of retirement. There's no age requirement now. He's a Democrat like me, a Democrat voter. And he goes, man, they must be desperate trying to get our old asses up. But it goes along with the plan. That's why they're kicking everybody off Medicare. They want them to, hey, there's some jobs with ICE.
I
I mean,
was I
go
was
work for
thinking I was
ICE.
th I was thinking of maybe going down there, collecting the 50 grand signing bonus, going on ice and just videotaping shit and be a leaker.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I told my couple of my buddies, it's like, well, you voted for Trump, go apply and see what happens. They'll probably arrest your ass there and deport you, and you're a fucking American citizen. I mean, I wouldn't pass them. That's what they're doing. They're arresting American citizens. We saw that with Old Soul. I mean, it's fucking
you don't
happening.
have you don't have to worry about you don't have to worry about immigrants taking your job there.
No.
So
Yeah,
all you white guys that were afraid of immigrants taking your job, there you go, bitches. But I tell you what, when this is all said and done, you might have some trouble if you fucked around.
there was a guy that you're seeing you're seeing a lot of MAGA people. I mean, this one guy I saw a creator talking about him today, and and it was like he had the Trump picture behind him. He still had the MAGA hat on, and he was talking about how he lost his job. And this other guy stitched it and goes, "Well, now you can go down and start picking crops. There's a lot of those open." I mean, it's
Yeah.
just, I mean,
What are you worried about?
I mean, it's like when you vote for something. I mean, Trump said it was going to happen. I mean, he said he was going to do this, and he's doing it.
Yeah.
And he said he was going to do it, and we all know that he's not the smart one in the so-called brains behind it. It's Nosferatu, Stephen Miller.
Yeah.
That's who's doing it because that had a guy, and he has a hard on for. I guess he got dumped by some minority girl in school, and he just has a hard on for minorities. I mean, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I
The
hate to. I
guy that
mean,
gets beat up in school likes to exercise power now that he has a little. And yeah, I just, I look at Jeffrey, and I look at the other guy, Bovey, and those two could have Stephen Miller and Emil Bovey could have a creep off competition, and it would be a fucking dead heat. These two ugly, creepy looking motherfuckers. They must have had a tough time in high school. I'm just saying.
I saw a meme, and I think I shared it on Facebook, and I actually got some blowback for it. And it was a picture of Sarah Sanders and Kash Patel. It says they used to date, but they couldn't see eye to eye. It's like, how dare you? I was like, I remember we go low, they go low, we go high stuff. It was still funny. But yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, I mean, if you don't know, I mean, just look at a picture of those two together, and and they're
I
two of the worst
I
people ever, so I don't feel too bad.
I like those. Um, I like those inappropriate jokes. I had a situation one time when I was 28, 29 years old. I was diagnosed with testicular cancer, and I had surgery. I'm fine. I was fine thereafter. Was caught early. No big deal. But I had a guy that I work with who was a friend of mine. He was an engineer at the radio station. Very smart guy, nice guy, but we gave each other shit all the time.
That's what guys do.
That's what we do. Now, this guy, for whatever reason, I don't know why, but he had one eye going this way and one eye going that way. So I walk up after I had the surgery, and he says to me, "Hey, how they hanging?" "Oh, sorry. How's it hanging?" And I looked at him and I looked at the crowd. I said, "Just fine, dude. Did you guys know that the distinction that this guy has, the distinction is that when he was a little kid, he could go to a corner and look both ways without even fucking turning his head." And everybody's going, "How could you say that?" And I said, "The motherfucker just said that shit to me."
Exactly, right? Yeah,
And he didn't take offense to it. He thought it was funny, and I thought it was funny. And, you live another day.
yeah, there's nothing better than having that friend where you can send something to and they get it. Like there was a thing on TikTok today, and it said It had a TikTok video and there were like six donkeys and stuff. And it said seven asses looking at each other. And of course, you're the seventh ass looking at them. I mean, that that's
Yeah,
that's the kind of shit that that South Park's like. That's why South Park is so great. Everybody's like, well, and Trump in his mind, well, they just hate Trump. No, they fucking go after everybody.
everybody.
They've gotten in trouble for that too, which is great. And when you have a media, like it's like the people, we shouldn't be afraid of our government. Our government should be afraid of us. And
Right.
we've gotten to the point now to where you have so many people, and it's like I think you and Will and me, you and Eric, we've talked about that. We don't know why these people bow to Trump. Because Greg Abbott, yeah, he's a dick and a jerk, but he's he thinks Trump's a moron.
Oh, of course he does. That's
He
what's
does.
so upsetting. Everybody knows better,
Yes,
but they still are supplicant to him.
but
That's the fucking thing about it.
Trump has this thing called power, and you always wonder how low people would go to keep power. And if, the stuff that the victims say about Trump is true, the history about, we all know he's a deadbeat, didn't pay his bills.
All
He
right.
cheated on Melania when she was pregnant with Barron. I mean, he's a scumbag there. But I mean, it's like if all this stuff is even half true, even the Access Hollywood stuff, that should have ended it. Him making fun of
Yeah.
the disabled reporter, that should have been the end of it. But now we're
Right.
getting into the Epstein stuff, and you still have people. I mean, how many times did they redact his name and take you out? If my name's in a report, that means I was fucking there.
Yeah.
And if that would have been me or you,
Yeah.
I
We
mean,
would have
look
been
who's
in.
in jail. Look who was in
Yeah.
jail, her and him. But they want to go after Bill Clinton and Hillary. If Bill Clinton's in it, Bill Clinton's in it. I don't deny he's in it. If he's guilty, he's guilty. If it, Prince Harry or whatever, William or whatever that guy's name is, the Charles's brother, he's all over it too. But what's getting done here, and what getting done here is that the victims, they're being forgotten. The victims is
Right.
what I'm sad about. And if there is something released, more information about the victims. I mean, you have, that one victim there that, and the one that supposedly Epstein stole from Trump, didn't she kill herself?
She did. Well, that's what
I
they
mean, my
say.
God, what
But
is a
did
young
she kill
teenage girl?
herself?
Yeah. What's that?
Did she kill herself?
All right.
I don't know. I'm not
That's
trying to start a conspiracy theory, but if we have to question Jeffrey Epstein because he could talk, or this woman who could talk, you don't know. I mean, there's a lot of questions about situations that are going on in the Republican Party and how far will they go. Somebody would tell me, well, Donald Trump would never go that far. Really? A million people died of COVID because he said it was a hoax. We had one or two people die in this fake shooting he had, this assassination attempt. And when I first heard somebody died, I said, well, that had to be real because he would not have done
yeah.
that. Then I realized this fucker doesn't care about collateral damage. He doesn't care about anybody else. If someone has to die in the process while he's getting his ass saved, I'll guarantee you he's in for it. He doesn't care.
And since we're talking about the Clintons again, I heard for the longest time that Vince Foster was killed by Hillary.
Right.
You imagine if she was president and the Epstein thing came up and Bill Clinton's all over, and we know that, Trump is. If she was somehow would have beat Trump, arrested Epstein, and he died in prison, they would be all over that shit.
Oh, absolutely.
But who was
Absolutely.
president? I mean, you can ask everybody, but Bill O'Reilly evidently, because he
Yeah.
was thinking it was Merrick Garland, but we know both Merrick Garland didn't do shit. I guess Merrick Garland ought to be pretty happy with himself because they want him to testify now. So he may actually, he could have stopped a lot of this shit, but I mean, he didn't do shit. So he didn't want to be political. Guess what? They want to be political.
See, that's the one of the things that bothers me most. I don't want Merrick Garland to fade off into history.
No, he needs to be exposed
He
more.
should have to address for what he did because we are in this situation because he was either lazy or frightened or whatever the fuck he was. I really put a lot of blame on Merrick Garland. Had he stepped into office and went after Donald Trump, this would not even be an issue. I will tell you this about Donald Trump. Donald Trump is so thick in this
Epstein.
Epstein file thing. We know it is because we know that Pam Bondi, this was leaked from the DOJ for some reason, that she told Donald Trump in May that he's in the file. Of course, he knows he's in the file. But if he wasn't in the file, why did they have to bring in 1,000 FBI people to comb through that fucking thing, flag his name, and then now we hear they tried to redact his name somehow? That doesn't sound like somebody who's completely innocent that isn't friends with Jeffrey Epstein. This sounds like somebody who's terribly guilty. And I will tell you this, I think because he is who he is and he was the president, it may or may not happen while he's alive, but when he's dead, that shit will come out. Donald Trump will be exposed for who he is, and everybody in his family are going to fucking pay the price for it because that's what Donald Trump does. He destroys things, he destroys people, and he will destroy his own whole family and anybody that was close to him ultimately.
I don't know if I could be in the FBI and be given that task and still live with myself.
No,
Because you have a
no.
lot of, I mean, people always make fun of attorneys for being the lowest forms of, humanity, but a lot of them have quit, in the DOJ and, a lot of that stuff because they didn't want to break that law. So, I mean, is your pension that much? I mean, I don't know. I'm not in that position, but I would have to really look at myself and go, God, he's asking me to do something, is it really worth, a conscience, Because I,
Well,
I guess
that
some are okay. I guess the 1,000 people they did are okay with it.
apparently, I mean, it's a tough choice though. I mean, say you've been in the FBI 20, 30 years, you're going to retire, you got a pension, you're getting directed to do this by the president, presumably. Theoretically, you're supposed to follow the orders and do it. That's the real problem in our government right now. We have Republicans and Democrats. That's who's fighting. There is no distinction of what's right and what's wrong. If your party wants you to do something that's wrong, then you're required to do it.
Yeah.
We have a government that doesn't work on legal and illegal, right and wrong, truth and lies. It's whatever they're told to do. And that doesn't say much for the FBI or military or anybody else. We thought, that's one of the things I did a TikTok about. I was comparing um, some stuff I went through when I was younger. And I was basically saying people are terrified, confused, and abused right now because when Donald Trump came into office, we thought, well, there are laws, there's decency in Congress. They'll never let him do this. There's norms, there's rules, there all this stuff. Something will put up guardrails for Donald Trump. Totally fucking wrong. I was totally wrong about that. I gave Congress and the people of this country too much credit. They are able to do whatever the fuck they want to do. Rule of law is out the window. Just take a look at the Supreme Court, and that's why when it comes to gerrymandering, California, New York, Illinois, and these other places, people will say, "Well, then that's two rights don't make a wrong." Well, one right and one wrong hasn't worked for 10 years.
Yeah.
We better get in the mud and fucking fight these motherfuckers. And if you're worried about rule of law, don't. It doesn't exist anymore.
No, it doesn't. And they don't even it's funny how like the girl Comey Barrett, the one that replaced Ginsburg, she
Yeah,
was voting along with the liberals for a while, then she got pushed back, and all of a sudden she's not really, I guess maybe she was voting her conscience before her, what she thought, and she was going against a lot of stuff for Trump. He said something, MAGA got all upset about it. You haven't heard MAGA talking about her anymore because she's voted along with them.
right.
And I mean, it's, there was like these rumors like, well, she's not going to put up with this. No, she's one of Trump's appointees. She's ultimately going to bend the knee. And And what, the Republicans need to realize is that you get a Democrat up there, and you will probably get a Democrat up there that's probably even as freaking crooked as Trump.
Yeah, no doubt.
And these Republicans, for all the shit they do, it's going to be retribution because, you see it all over, even on the White House social media page, it's retribution. My turn, bitches, and it's like, this isn't wrestling. This isn't UFC. We don't have a revenge match. This isn't, this is, this is life. And, life is precious while we have it, and it's short. And it's really sad that, people they don't vote for their own best interest. They said here, well, the stock market's up, well, blah 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 this, and they're living out of a trailer with no electricity because they can't afford it. And the food stamps are cut off because the guy can't work, but no, he can work, according to the Republicans. And they're fine with that. You know how I know they're fine with it? Because they keep voting for it. And
They
they keep
do.
voting
Well,
for it until it happens to them. And
as people are
sometimes even when
listening
it
to
happens to them, they still vote for it.
as people are listening to this podcast, it is August 7th. That is a deadline for many of the tariffs to go into effect. They pushed off Mexico for 90 days because Donald Trump's fucking
Taco.
taco chicken. He put off China till the 12th, so we're only like about 5 days from that. But there are some tariffs set to go off today. If people don't think that's going to impact the economy, for inflation, whether it be inflation or whether it be cost of products or loss of jobs, you know, the funny thing is when these horrible jobs reports come out, and Donald Trump said, "I'm firing the woman with the bad news." That is a potentially disastrous thing for this economy because a lot of people, the Fed and investors, they count on that factual information. Somebody asked Donald Trump, "So can we trust the numbers, regardless of what?" He goes, "No." Well, that's the wrong thing for a president to say. If those numbers can't be trusted, then we're pretty much like a banana republic. They put out whatever they want to put out. And if they follow those numbers, then they fail miserably. What Donald Trump did in that instance by firing that woman and presumably putting somebody else in who's either going to get fired again or is going to give out the wrong numbers, neither one of those is good for this country, good for the economy. And I would have to think their investors, the Fed, and all these other big oligarchs got to be freaking out about this a little bit. I know Republicans are even bitching about it.
Well, the thing about it is that he's going to put whoever he wants to up there, and whoever takes that job is a fucking moron.
Yeah.
And but there are going to be other companies that are going to be doing it, and there's going to be more of that back each other up than what he puts out.
Yeah.
You can piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. It's still pissing on my leg.
Right.
It's like firing a doctor. You have stage 4 cancer. Well, you're fucking fired. You get a second opinion, yeah, but you don't fucking fire the doctor that can maybe save your life. But I mean, it's just the fucking circus, man. It's like, I equate, the country to Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones. He's out
Who's a
there.
goof, too.
He's a goof and he's MAGA. And what he's doing now is he's got a great player that they drafted, Micah
Right.
Parsons, who I personally, as a Cowboy fan, don't think he's worth it. But this is on Jerry for creating this circus. He could have signed him 2 years ago for less money, but he's going to have to pay him out like he did Dak Prescott last year, which, they get, these players like, oh, who the fuck is going to throw it to him? It ain't Dak. He's already 34. He's not getting any younger.
Right.
So I look at it that too. Well, Jerry Jones is a great businessman. Well, evidently he's not. He had a great coach about 30 years ago that built that team, and then he fired him. That's what Trump's doing to this country. He's fucking it over. And it's gonna take 30, it's gonna probably be past our lifetimes before it gets, I mean, it'll get better once somebody gets up there, but it's gonna take time just to fix the stuff he's done in the last, 7 months.
Yeah, it really is.
Biden did a lot of good fixing his first shit, but that evidently wasn't good enough for George Clooney or Nancy Pelosi.
You
Fuck them
know,
too.
when it comes to these celebrities
Yeah,
coming out and who gives a fuck what
I
they
don't.
think? And you know, it's like the Sydney Sweeney thing and the American Eagle. First of all, American Eagle isn't a powerhouse when it comes to selling jeans. Sydney Sweeney, she's kind of cute. She's certainly not the prettiest woman in Hollywood. She's certainly not the best actress in Hollywood. And what they did was intentional. They needed to cause a stir so more people would buy American Eagle uh, uh, jeans. And they didn't care how they did it. They knew how it would sound. They knew how it would work out. And then it turns out Sydney Sweeney is a Republican. And I've seen some things from a cousin of hers on TikTok saying, yeah, the whole fucking family's MAGA. I don't understand, like a Bill Maher or Sydney Sweeney. Do they not see the end is near? And when that end comes, they will be tainted for the rest of their lives. Their careers will be impacted for jumping on board a fascist. I don't get how they don't see that.
I think they're both like Trump. They're living the moment. They don't see what's ahead. And I think
Apparently not.
a lot of people in America are like that too. A lot of them are scared, and I get that. I've gotten to the point to where I've seen a lot of shit, and it's like we've got through the first term. You know, I mean, Mike, you've been around forever. You've seen all kinds of shit. I'm right behind you. So I mean, it's yeah. I mean, they don't see what's coming. They don't see. They see a light at the end of the tunnel. They think it's fucking Jesus. It's a fucking train. But
Right.
there's going to come a day, and there's going to be so much shit out there to where they're going to try. Because I've seen a lot of people talking too. Is like, well, he's building this $200 million ballroom because he doesn't plan on leaving. Motherfucker ain't gonna have a choice. He can try to do some shit like this, but it ain't gonna. I mean, it ain't gonna happen to where he's gonna stay. Because there's too many people that want power that aren't gonna let him stay. And like you said,
Yeah.
it's his health habits. He may not make it till then. So,
Well,
you know,
and you know, when you look at what Rupert Murdoch is doing and Elon Musk, you almost get the sense that there is some things going on in the background to try to destroy him so that they
yeah.
can get rid of him without pissing off the MAGA base. You know, there'll always be people that follow him no matter what.
Oh yeah.
But all you have to do is look at Donald Trump and listen to Donald Trump. There is no way he's going to survive to 28. There's just no way he's going to survive. He's not physically in good shape. He's certainly not mentally in good shape. Um, Something's going to happen. And like I've said before, I only hope it happens on national television and it's incredibly embarrassing because that would be satisfying for me. I'd rather see him go to jail, but if that's not going to happen for another 4 or 5 years, then I'd just soon have him keel over, choking on McDonald's and flopping around like a fish on the fucking stage.
Yeah, you just look at those interviews like with MSNBC or not CNBC, sorry, and then you look at how the some of the stuff that he posts on Truth Social. Your favorite president ever. I mean, he actually believes that shit. He
Oh, I know
actually
he
thinks
does.
he's 70% got 70% approval rating. He doesn't have that with Republicans. I mean, he
Yeah.
he really thinks that, and I think, with he tries to lie about the jobs report, there's going to be more people coming out. This shit ain't slowing down. I mean, this
No.
shit, more and more stuff's going to come out. And with what they did with removing, what's her name from Florida to Texas? I mean, can you imagine if Hillary Obama did that? I mean, my God, it'd be
Yeah.
all over it. But that's the kind of shit that we're dealing with. And that's the kind of shit that's not going away. And that's why they said the meeting was canceled. Fucking, they probably still had it. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And
they probably
at
still have it.
McDonald's on fucking Uber Eats and at JD's place and stuff there. And you don't think JD Vance is just waiting in the wings to do this stunt? I mean, you don't hear him talk about Elon, and Elon's always lurking out there, and so they got into the White House doing that stuff and they think they can do it. But when Trump's gone, I think the Republican Party is done. because they were talking about this before Trump, because, I'd hear it even down here when Obama was winning so handily. It's like, oh no, Republican Party's done.
Yeah.
And Trump was their last gasp, and that's why they're holding on to him so hard. And don't be surprised they pull a weekend at Bernie's. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
bring him out there still. And Don Jr.'s on one side, Eric's on the other. And it's just,
Oh, he's fine. He's
yeah, he's
fine.
fine.
Right, Dad?
And I would like I think I said it last time, like that movie Dave that they had where
Yeah.
Klein was, has his twin come up there and put him up there, but there's only one Donald Trump, and he's been a survivor so long. But I mean, I do think that we're seeing the end, and I mean, I don't think it's coming as fast enough for people, but I just
No.
think there's just too much stuff going to happen, and we haven't even gone through anything like hurricane. I mean, it's been very quiet hurricane season.
So
It's
far,
just
yeah.
like, yeah, so far so good. So I mean, when something happens and stuff like that, because George Bush had a big, big approval rating until Katrina hit and something like that. And then he's not as strong as he was in his first term, and I mean, I'm optimistic, and Bill Clinton said at one time, it's probably not the best to quote on this show, but I still believe in a place called hope, and it's
Well,
not on an
yeah.
island. No, nothing with that. Not he wasn't talking about that.
Well, people will always come to me and say, "How can you have hope? How can you not have hope?
You have
Because if
to.
you don't have hope, just curl up and die."
Yeah.
Because there's, you know, as I've said before, we've gone through difficult times, fucked up times in this country. I'm 65. I've seen a few of them. We always do come out the other side. And Robert Reich said something on television recently. He said, historically, when people go this far right, it leads us into a more progressive age afterwards because people are trying to right the ship, center center the car, if you will. And I do think that that may be what's coming. When people suffer and struggle the way they are, they're going to be more open to universal health, uh, better prices on post-secondary education. Um, and people say, well, you know, you're looking at pie in the sky. What else is there to do? If you don't have hope, why do I do this? Or why does anybody listen to this? Or why does anybody get up in the fucking morning if you don't have some shred of hope? If you don't have a shred of hope, you know what? I don't need you around me because I don't want you harshing my buzz, as it were, because we've got to look forward and hopefully look for some positivity because I got kids and grandkids that I'm going to be worried about after I'm dead.
The one thing I always heard, don't dick with my buzz. I think that's what it was called. Don't dick with my buzz. I've heard that
Well,
one before.
that might be a Texas thing because up here it was "Don't harsh my buzz."
Yeah. It's
Um,
same message though. Yeah, I think a lot of them, because I think a lot of them before kind of got through that with the boomers, and a lot of boomers and older boomers probably lived through the depression, and well, we always voted this way and we've always done this way. But I think a lot of people below Gen X, because Gen X, they elected Trump twice, so
uh,
whatever. And they a lot of people that have lived through this stuff, they lived through COVID, 9/11, they're gonna their own they're gonna see their own feelings, and this, hopefully they have more empathy for their fellow man, because obviously the boomers, that a lot of them, and Gen Xers that were there at Woodstock, or you know stuff like that, when we are the world, say Gen X, we don't look at that anyway, because the hippies have become a lot of hippies have become MAGA, and Gen X
yeah,
too. And you look at that, and like, I watched that Bob Dylan movie, and you see it. Boomers have become MAGA. A lot of them are. A lot of Gen X
absolutely.
too. And maybe this another generation had seen our mistakes and learned from it. Because I mean, we can't continue to go this way. Or I mean, if we continue, if say we do elect JD Vance and we do more, which I don't see it's happening, then I mean, Trump can be the end of it. But if they continue to vote Republicans and this kind of stuff, then there is really no hope. But I do believe there's hope, and I do people will, once the MAGA train, goes off into the sunset, so to speak, things will get better.
I always do have hope, and I do think Donald Trump has pretty much destroyed the Republican Party going forward after he is out of the mix. But I have to wonder too, with the way people are feeling about the Democrats, we're getting some of them fighting back. And I think that's what a Democrat needs to do if they want support in the future. They're tired of getting run over by the Republicans. But I have to wonder when this is all said and done and things start to settle down a little bit, if the entire system of two parties kind of changes. Because
Yeah.
the Republicans have to change if they hope to participate in any future elections, but so do the Democrats. People are tired of both sides to a certain extent, maybe more so with the Republicans because they're out and out trying to destroy the country. But the people who have been weak and just sat back and did nothing, people have probably as much dislike for them as they do the Republicans. And some people might look at that as, well, that's bad, that's tragic, that's the end. I look at that as a prime opportunity for some significant change. And maybe that's why we're going through this. Some of the corruption and criminality that we're seeing now in politics has probably been going on for decades. We
Oh
just
yeah.
didn't see it. There wasn't a dumbass to bring it to the surface like Donald Trump. So maybe this is what it needs to happen in order to clean house completely and try to get a system of government that's, and I'm not saying something other than democracy, because frankly, the way it's being run now, both Democrats and Republicans, we don't really have democracy the way it's supposed to be run. Maybe we can clean this up on both sides and get back to some reasonable facsimile of democracy.
And I think also what's going to happen too, I mean, I think, you may have your Democrats and your, Republicans, go away, but the skinhead movement and the white race, Aryan thing that they want to bring that back ain't happening. If
No.
you're a racist still in this day and time and you want a white race, those days are numbered because you have mixed marriages, you have people coming together, and as much as Republicans hate DEI or they used to call it multiculturalism, that's alive and well. And that
Well,
happens to Democrats and Republicans. So if you're a racist still in this date and time, you got no future.
that snowball is rolling down the hill and it's getting bigger every day, and there's
Yep.
nobody who's going to stop that. Whether the white race is going to be the minority and the brown people are going to be the majority, I don't really fucking care. I just want to live my life and have as much joy in my life as possible. And I
And if
can
you got
have
a
that with people of color or white people.
and if you think diversity is a wrong word, a bad word, fuck you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're all diverse. None of us think alike. We're not all robots like you, MAGA. DEI, you know what I mean? It's there for a reason, is because races like you let that happen. Diversity it should not be outlawed. Diversity should be celebrated.
Well, I've said before, some of these people that are worried about the white race being um, being the minority, why they're worried about it. I said to one guy one time, he says, "You're not worried about that?" I go, "No, not worried about it at all." But it's maybe indicative of how you treated people of color and you're worried about retribution. I haven't done that. I'm fine. I've got people of color, people of different religions. I treat them like they should be treated. I
No.
mean, regardless of color or religion or anything like that or sexual orientation, if you're a good person, I'm going to treat you well. If you're a dick, I'm not going to give you a pass because you're a minority. It just goes back to what Martin Luther King judge people on the content of their character, regardless of what the superficial things are race, religion, sexual orientation.
I kind of on that thing because he just died recently, Hulk Hogan,
Yeah,
and his daughter didn't talk to him anymore because it came out when he was doing a sex tape with Bubba the Love Sponge or whatever's wife that there was a lot of footage gone where he was dropping the N-word quite a bit.
right.
Well, you're hearing a lot of this coming from wrestlers saying this happened. Well, I've been seeing like Brooke Hogan on there. She evidently came on there and said something about like, like she didn't really want anything to do with him because she dated black men before and he had a problem with that. And
Yeah.
she was blindsided by that, seeing that happening. And so she didn't talk to him for like 3 or 4 years and he died. And she evidently told him, I have my own money. I don't need your money, blah, blah, blah. So she was on TMZ and I was reading some of stuff on TikTok and I was reading some of the comments and they were like what Hogan said. And it's like, and it's like, somebody looks like us, we don't experience that every day, then we see it in print. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the stories that Old Soul tells us about, and Will tells us about. And it was right there on TikTok, and they have no shame to say that shit.
No, they don't.
So, I mean, and it's that's what you're dealing with on that other side, and that's why you can't play by the same rules, is because you're dealing with somebody that wants to destroy your way of life. And that's why a lot of white people fear. There's an old Public Enemy. They were, a rap band in the 80s, and they had an album called in the late 80s called Fear of a Black Planet. And that's what a lot of it is because a lot of people, and they use the Bible sometimes for this too, is to say the white, that they're the superior race. Although I'd like you to find any white people back then in the Bible that, Caucasians like us, they didn't
Yeah.
exactly look like us back then, Mike.
If we were in biblical times, they'd look at us and go, "Those fuckers sick because they're
Yeah.
so pasty
Is that a
white. Is that
ghost?
fucking? Is that a ghost?" Yeah. Well, Jace, we're going to wrap things up for the Rational Boomer podcast. I want to thank you for coming on. I thought it was important given all that's going on in Texas. And since you're the Texas dude, you were the right one to talk to. So I appreciate you coming on.
And I just want to tell everybody, we're not all bad down here. I mean, like me and
No,
Mike were talking about a while ago, there's hope. And, Democrats keep fighting. And there was an old famous Texan. If you're feeling down and dirt, if you're feeling down, people got you down. A famous Texan once said, J.R. Ewing, don't let the bastards get you down. That's what you got to live by.
absolutely. If you ain't fighting, you ain't shit. The
Nope.
Rational Boomer just said that shit. All right. Well, thank you very much, Jace. I appreciate it. For those of you listening, thanks for taking the time. I hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.